Observe, imitate, and modify. That's the secret behind every meaningful DIY project. Welcome to Crafted Nest, a warm corner where simple everyday items are reborn into creative treasures. Today, we'll explore how plastic bottles, things we usually throw away, can transform into magical gardens right at home. Don't forget to subscribe and join our growing community, so every new idea inspires you to create a greener, more beautiful space around you. Have you ever stood before a bare wall in your backyard and wondered if it could be something more than just concrete? Imagine turning that empty space into a living wall, alive with the scent of herbs and the freshness of green leaves, simply by using plastic bottles you might have thrown away. This is the beauty of a vertical bottle garden wall, an idea that is as simple as it is magical. With just a few steps, an ordinary wall can be reborn. Each bottle becomes a small cradle of life, holding soil and nurturing seedlings that reach for the sun. Spinach, basil, or even chilies, plants that we often use in our kitchens, suddenly grow at eye level, easy to harvest and care for. The best part? You don't need a large garden, only a vertical surface and the will to create. As you cut each bottle and fill it with soil, you're not just making a planter, you're giving new purpose to something once considered waste. There is a quiet joy in watering this living wall, seeing droplets trickle down the sides, feeding not only the roots, but also your spirit. Day by day, the bottles transform into a patchwork of green, a mural painted by nature itself. This project is perfect for small spaces, especially in cities where every inch counts. It's affordable, sustainable, and surprisingly beautiful. And as you stand back, admiring your wall of life, you'll feel a sense of calm knowing that you've built something with your own hands, something that nourishes both body and soul. Close your eyes and picture a tower of life gently swaying in the morning breeze. Instead of steel or stone, its foundation is built from something humble, discarded plastic bottles. One above another, they form a hanging column that overflows with the fragrance of herbs. This is the Hanging Bottle Herb Tower, a creation where simplicity meets elegance. Each bottle is more than just a container. Cut carefully, filled with soil, and tied together, they become little balconies for herbs to thrive. Mint leaves spill out, their fresh scent carried by the air. Parsley spreads its cully edges with pride, while basil stretches upward, always reaching for the sun. The tower doesn't demand a yard or wide space. It hangs gracefully from a hook, a rope, or a balcony beam, turning unused air into fertile ground. The beauty of this design lies not only in its practicality, but also in its poetry. When you water the top, droplets gently fall down through the layers, feeding the plants below. It is nature's waterfall, tiny, simple, and endlessly soothing. For city dwellers, this tower becomes a silent companion, reminding us that greenery can bloom anywhere, even in the smallest of corners. What makes it magical is the intimacy it creates. Every morning, as you step outside, you are greeted by a living tower that whispers of growth, resilience, and care. With every herb you harvest, there is a quiet pride. This meal carries not just flavor, but also the story of your creativity. And so, with a few bottles and a dream, you transform empty space into a hanging tower of life. Imagine a garden that waters itself, drop by drop, without demanding your constant attention. The secret is simple: an empty plastic bottle, inverted and transformed into a gentle provider of life. This is the Bottle Drip Irrigation Planter, an idea born from simplicity, yet powerful enough to sustain a thriving garden. The process begins with a bottle, perhaps one you once thought was waste. A small hole in the cap allows water to escape slowly, like soft rain that never stops. When placed near the roots, it becomes a guardian for your plants, ensuring they never thirst, even on the hottest days. Tomatoes, chilies, or spinach, each one receives a steady rhythm of nourishment, a reminder that growth comes not in floods but in patience. There is something soothing in watching droplets fall, merging with the soil, disappearing beneath the surface only to return later as green leaves, blossoms, and fruit. This system is more than practical, it is a lesson in sustainability. With just a few bottles, you reduce waste, conserve water, and give your garden the consistency it craves. For those who often travel or work long hours, this planter is a quiet blessing. You return home to find your plants healthy, leaves unfurled, their colors vivid as though they had been cared for each hour you were gone. The garden feels alive, independent, and resilient. And when you harvest your vegetables, the taste carries more than freshness. It carries a story of how something once discarded now sustains life, how drops of water guided by your hands became a river of nourishment for your home. In every bite, there is a whisper, growth, patience, and renewal. There is a quiet beauty in a planter that tends to itself. The self-watering bottle pot is more than just a clever invention. It is a reminder of how balance and care can be built into the very design of our everyday lives. With nothing more than a plastic bottle, a wick, and a seedling, you create a miniature ecosystem that sustains itself even when you are not around. Picture the process. You cut a bottle in two, invert the top to rest inside the base, and slip a cotton string through the opening. The bottom becomes a reservoir of clear water, while the upper half cradles soil and a young plant. Drop by drop, the wick carries moisture upward, feeding the roots with exactly what they need, no more, no less. It is like giving your plants their own rhythm of drinking, perfectly measured, perfectly timed. On a sunny balcony or a kitchen windowsill, these pots stand like small guardians of life. Each one holds a story. Basil waiting to flavor your soup, chili plants promising spice for your meals, lettuce leaves eager to brighten your plate. The joy lies not only in their growth, but also in the freedom they give you. Even if you forget to water for days, the bottle remembers, offering life quietly and without complaint. For those who live in busy cities, this design is a gift. It teaches patience and simplicity. It turns something disposable into something enduring, something that bridges your daily routine with the steady rhythm of nature. And when you finally harvest the leaves, their freshness carries not just nutrients, but also the quiet satisfaction of knowing you created a system where care flows effortlessly. In the heart of every garden lies a secret. Growth does not always need soil. The bottle wick hydroponic system is proof of this, a design so simple yet so full of wonder. With only a bottle, a wick, and water enriched with nutrients, life begins and thrives in ways that feel almost magical. The process is delicate but easy. Cut a bottle, place the upper half inside the base, and let a cotton wick stretch like a bridge between water and roots. Above, you nestle a seedling into a small cradle of soil or cocoa peat. Below, the bottle waits with clear water laced with the food your plant needs. Quietly, the wick carries each drop upward, feeding the roots like veins carrying lifeblood. Day by day, the transformation is astonishing. Through the transparent plastic, you can watch white roots extend gracefully into the water, searching, drinking, and growing. Lettuce leaves unfurl, spinach grows bold, basil perfumes the air. Without soil, without constant watering, the plants live by a balance designed by your own hands. This system is a gentle teacher. It shows us that growth can come from simplicity, that waste can be reborn as vessels of life. It is perfect for homes with limited space, balconies that crave greenery, or classrooms where children can watch science unfold in real time. It is sustainable, affordable, and quietly poetic. And when the harvest comes, each leaf you pick carries more than flavor. It carries the memory of a bottle once discarded, now transformed into a vessel of nourishment. It whispers of patience, creativity, and the joy of seeing life flourish through your care. In this, the humble bottle becomes a symbol of possibility. Some gardens are silent, but others sing a duet between water and life. The bottle aquaponic mini garden is one of those rare designs where two worlds meet, the quiet swimming of fish below and the steady growth of plants above. Together, they form a cycle that is both magical and deeply natural. It begins with a simple bottle, cut and reshaped to hold water in its lower half and soil above. In the clear water, tiny fish glide gracefully, their movements stirring life within. Above, roots dip down, sipping not only water, but also the nutrients the fish provide. In return, the plants clean the water, keeping it fresh for the little swimmers. It is a dance of balance, each side giving and receiving, bound together by a bottle once meant for the trash. As days pass, this small ecosystem becomes a living classroom. Children peer into the bottle and marvel at how fish and plants can care for each other. Adults find peace in watching life cycle through something so humble. Lettuce leaves stretch upward, basil sways in the breeze, while fish flicker below like sparks of sunlight. It is practical, sustainable, and yet filled with poetry. The joy of this design lies in its simplicity. You don't need a farm or a laboratory, only a bottle, some water, a few fish, and a dream. With care, the plants flourish and the fish thrive, each one sustaining the other. And when you harvest your herbs, you taste more than freshness. You taste the harmony of two lives growing together in balance. This small garden whispers of renewal, of possibility. It shows that even the smallest bottle can hold entire worlds when we dare to imagine. There is something enchanting about walking into a space where sunlight bends and softens, where warmth gathers and plants awaken. The bottle greenhouse dome is not just a shelter for seedlings. It is a temple of growth, crafted from the very things we once called waste. Plastic bottles, when pieced together with patience, become walls of glass, glowing gently as they embrace the light. Step inside, and you are met with a quiet humidity, the air alive with the scent of soil and tender leaves. The bottles capture the warmth of the sun, holding it close like a blanket for the seedlings. Lettuce stretches tall, chilies glow with promise, and small herbs thrive in rows, safe from the harsh winds outside. It is a sanctuary built not with wealth, but with creativity. The dome itself tells a story of community. Imagine families or neighbors gathering bottles, cleaning them, and fitting them together into a curved structure. Each piece, once overlooked, now plays its part in sheltering life. It is sustainable, affordable, and surprisingly strong. And as the light filters through the plastic, scattering rainbows across the soil, there is a sense of wonder that no store-bought greenhouse could ever match. For gardeners, this dome is more than practical. It is deeply symbolic. It teaches us that protection does not require perfection, only intention. It reminds us that care can be built from what we already have. And when the plants inside are ready to harvest, they carry not only flavor but also the memory of a place where hope and ingenuity grew side by side. The bottle greenhouse dome whispers of renewal. It is a home for plants, a lesson for people, and a vision of how the simplest materials can create worlds of abundance. There is a certain joy in seeing red strawberries glowing against the green of their leaves, especially when they appear not from the ground but from bottles swaying gently in the air. The bottle hanging strawberry planter is proof that sweetness can bloom even in the smallest of spaces, where walls and balconies become orchards of delight. The process begins with a bottle suspended by rope, small openings cut into its sides. Within, soil cradles the roots, while the plant stretches outward through the gaps, offering leaves, blossoms, and, in time, fruit. Sunlight warms the hanging rows, and soon, little beads of red dangle like jewels, tempting and alive. Each strawberry is more than just food. It is a promise fulfilled, grown with care from something once discarded. This design is perfect for balconies, verandas, or simple walls that crave beauty and function. As the bottles hang, they transform empty air into vertical gardens, each one carrying the charm of unexpected harvest. Watering from above lets droplets trickle downward, feeding every plant along the way, making the garden not only beautiful but efficient. There is a quiet pride in plucking a ripe strawberry from a bottle you once considered trash. Its sweetness tastes brighter, its fragrance stronger, because it carries the story of your hands and your patience. And when visitors see the bottle swaying, filled with life and color, their eyes widen with surprise, because who would have thought strawberries could bloom from plastic? The hanging strawberry planter teaches us that abundance doesn't always need acres of land. Sometimes, it only needs imagination, sunlight, and the courage to let life grow in the most unexpected places. There is a special beauty in tomatoes, clusters of red jewels hanging from green vines, glowing in the sunlight. With a bottle tomato trellis planter, this beauty becomes possible even in the smallest of home gardens. Plastic bottles, humble and ordinary, serve as the foundation, while bamboo or wood provides the path for vines to climb. Together, they create a living tapestry of growth and color. Each bottle is cut, filled with soil, and placed at the base of the trellis. From these simple vessels, tomato plants emerge, their stems eager to climb higher. With support, they twist and weave around the stakes, reaching upward, each day stronger than the last. Soon, blossoms appear, yellow stars that transform into small green fruits, then into red orbs shining with promise. The trellis system is not only practical, but also poetic. It lifts the plants from the ground, protecting them from pests and giving them room to breathe. It makes harvest easier too, as the fruits dangle at eye level, waiting to be picked. And all of it begins with the bottle, once overlooked, now reborn as the cradle of nourishment. As the days pass, the vines become dense, and the trellis transforms into a wall of life. Standing before it, you feel the rhythm of nature, the weight of the fruits, the warmth of the sun, the freshness of leaves rustling in the breeze. And when you pluck a tomato, its taste carries more than flavor. It carries the story of ingenuity, of turning waste into abundance. This design shows us that gardens need not be vast to be generous. Sometimes, all it takes is a bottle, a stake, and a dream for red fruit to brighten your table and your heart. Some gardens rise, not across the earth but into the sky. The Bottle Vertical Hydro Tower is a vision of growth reaching upward, proof that even a single square foot can bloom with abundance when designed with imagination. Stacked bottle upon bottle, each one becomes a step in a green ladder, carrying life toward the light. The process is elegant in its simplicity. Bottles are cut, connected, and arranged into a column, with nutrient water flowing gently through the center. Each opening along the tower holds a plant, lettuce spreading fresh leaves, basil perfuming the air, chilies glowing red against the green. The roots dip into the hidden current, drinking deeply, while the leaves stretch out to the sun above. It is efficiency and beauty intertwined. Standing before the tower, you see more than just plants. You see the story of how waste can rise again, how plastic once destined for the bin now becomes a scaffold for nourishment. Every level of the tower whispers possibility, showing how vertical gardens can feed families even in crowded cities. For those with small spaces, balconies, or rooftops, the Hydro Tower becomes a beacon of hope. It is compact, sustainable, and alive with color. As you water or refresh the nutrients, there's a quiet pride in knowing each bottle carries a piece of your creativity. And when the harvest arrives, the taste is richer not just because of freshness, but because it carries the story of innovation. The Hydro Tower is not just a garden, it is a symbol that growth is always possible, that with vision and care, even discarded bottles can stand tall as towers of life. Sometimes the most breathtaking gardens are born not from vast fields, but from the smallest of ideas, multiplied. The Bottle Lettuce Farm Rack is one such creation, a structure where rows of bottles become rows of life, and each green leaf whispers of abundance made possible by human hands. Picture a rack built from bamboo or wood, sturdy yet simple. Upon it rest dozens of bottles, cut and filled with soil, each one holding a lettuce plant. As sunlight pours over them, the bottles sparkle and the leaves glow with freshness. Day by day, the rack transforms into a miniature farm, lush and alive, a patchwork of green against the backdrop of village walls or balconies. The beauty of this design is not just in the harvest, but in its rhythm. Watering the top rows allows droplets to flow down, feeding the levels below, turning effort into efficiency. The space is maximized, the bottles recycled, and the reward is a garden that feels larger than it is. For families, this rack can provide not only beauty but also food, lettuce leaves fresh enough to brighten any meal. Standing before the rack, one feels the quiet satisfaction of order and growth. It is as though the garden has been woven into a tapestry, each bottle a thread, each leaf a brushstroke of life. And when harvest comes, it is not only the crispness of the lettuce you taste, but also the story of how creativity transformed waste into nourishment. The farm rack teaches us that farming is not bound to fields. With vision, even bottles and a small corner can become a farm, bringing both flavor to the kitchen and peace to the soul. There is something enchanting about cooking while reaching just an arm's length away to pluck a sprig of basil or a handful of mint. The Bottle Herbs kitchen window garden brings that magic to life, turning the humble window into a frame not only for light but also for greenery and flavor. Imagine a row of bottles cut and shaped into little pots, resting along the sill or attached neatly to the frame. Inside, soil cradles the roots, and herbs burst forth, filling the air with fragrance. Sunlight streams through the glass each morning, warming the leaves, turning the kitchen into a living sanctuary where growth and nourishment intertwine. The beauty of this design lies in its intimacy. It doesn't require a yard, a balcony, or even much space. Only a window that welcomes the sun. With just a few bottles, you bring life to the place where meals are born. Parsley waits to garnish your soups, basil readies itself for sauces, and coriander leans eagerly toward the light, a silent companion in your daily rituals. Every day, as you prepare food, you feel the connection between hand, plant, and table. Harvesting becomes part of the cooking, each meal flavored with the freshness of your own making. And the bottles, once discarded, now carry purpose, not as waste, but as vessels of flavor, beauty, and life. This window garden is more than practical, it is soulful. It reminds you that nature belongs not just outside, but within your home, blending into your daily life. And each leaf you pluck carries a story of transformation, showing how even the smallest corners can bloom with abundance when touched with care. Flowers have a way of brightening even the dullest of spaces. Now imagine them bursting from containers you crafted with your own hands, bottles once discarded, reborn as vibrant vessels of color and joy. The bottle recycled flower pot is not just a planter, it is a piece of art, carrying both bloom and story. The transformation begins simply, a bottle cut neatly, edges smooth, painted with colors that reflect your spirit. Pastel blues, fiery reds, sunshine yellows, each shade becomes a canvas for creativity. When soil and seeds are added, the pot is no longer just plastic. It becomes a cradle of life. Soon, green shoots emerge, followed by blossoms that sway gently in the breeze, each petal glowing under the sun. Placed in a corner of the yard, along a balcony, or hanging by ropes, these flower pots breathe warmth into every space. They are cheerful, eye-catching, and alive, each one unique because each one carries the handprint of its maker. The joy lies not just in the flowers themselves, but in the process, painting, planting, and watching them bloom day by day. This design is not only decorative, but deeply meaningful. It teaches us that beauty can emerge from what is forgotten, that creativity has the power to give waste a second life. And every time a guest admires the flowers, they also admire your vision, your care, and your choice to turn something simple into something extraordinary. In these recycled pots, flowers become more than decoration. They are symbols of resilience, color woven into everyday life, reminders that beauty often hides in the simplest materials, waiting for hands willing to bring it forth. Every garden begins with a seed, small, fragile, and full of promise. The Bottle Seed Starter Kit is a simple yet powerful way to give these seeds the best beginning, using nothing more than bottles that once had no future. Cut, filled with soil, and lined with care, these bottles become nurseries where life quietly awakens. On a garden table or by a sunny window, the bottles stand like little cradles. Within each, soil holds the tiny seeds of tomatoes, chilies, or lettuce. Days pass, and the first tender shoots emerge, reaching upward toward the light. They're delicate green whispers of tomorrow, of fruit and harvest yet to come. Watching them grow, you feel part of something larger, a story that begins in the smallest details. This design is not only practical, but deeply poetic. It teaches patience, watering gently, waiting for sprouts, celebrating each new leaf. The bottles, once overlooked, now serve as guardians of beginnings. Transparent walls reveal the roots threading down into the soil, giving a glimpse into the secret world of growth. Labels mark each one, turning the garden into a classroom where both children and adults can learn the language of nature. The starter kit is perfect for small homes, classrooms, or community projects. When seedlings grow strong, they can be transplanted into larger pots or gardens, carrying within the story of their humble beginnings. And each harvest that follows feels richer because you witnessed its very first day. In the Bottle Seed Starter Kit, the cycle of renewal finds its voice. Waste becomes hope, seeds become food, and care becomes life, reminding us that greatness often starts with the smallest steps. There is a quiet magic in stepping out onto your balcony and finding yourself surrounded by life. The bottle balcony hanging garden makes this possible, turning simple plastic bottles into cascading planters that transform small spaces into living sanctuaries. With a few ropes and some creativity, bottles are cut, filled with soil, and hung gracefully along the railings or beams. Within days, green leaves spill over the edges, reaching toward the sun. Chilies dangle brightly, mint perfumes the air, and lettuce adds its crisp freshness. Each bottle sways gently in the breeze, like small lanterns of life suspended in the air. The beauty of this design is its adaptability. Even in the tightest of urban spaces, balconies can bloom with abundance. The bottles, once forgotten, now serve as vessels of nourishment and color, painting your home with shades of green and red. Water trickles from one planter to another, creating a rhythm of care that feels effortless and natural. Each morning, when you step outside, you are greeted not by concrete and noise, but by a small oasis of calm. Birds pause on the railing, drawn by the greenery, and neighbors glance up with admiration at the creativity that has turned waste into wonder. Harvesting herbs or vegetables from your own balcony carries not just flavor but also pride. The pride of knowing you nurtured life where others saw only limitation. The bottle balcony hanging garden is a reminder that beauty and sustenance do not require wide fields. They can thrive in the air above our homes, in bottles once cast aside, in the spaces we thought were too small. All it takes is vision, care, and the belief that growth can happen anywhere. Imagine a miniature waterfall in your garden, not of rock and stone, but of plastic bottles, each one teeming with life. This is the Bottle Water Cascade Planter, a brilliant design where watering one plant automatically waters the one below it, creating a gentle, flowing system that is as beautiful as it is efficient. It turns a simple bottle stack into a living column where waterfall meets garden. The structure is simple: Bottles are stacked vertically, with small lips cut into them to ensure a controlled overflow. When you pour water into the top bottle, it fills, then spills into the second, and so on, creating a seamless cascade of nourishment for every plant along the way. Spinach, mint, or even colorful flowers can thrive in this rhythm, drinking exactly what they need as the water flows past their roots. There is a quiet, soothing poetry in this design. The sound of trickling water brings a sense of calm to the garden, a gentle reminder of nature's flow. For urban gardeners, this system is a gift, saving both space and effort, transforming a bare wall or corner into a vertical oasis. You water once, and the entire column drinks, ensuring consistency and preventing waste. The bottle water cascade planter is proof that sustainability can be elegant. It transforms discarded plastic into a perpetual source of life and beauty. When you stand back and admire the flow, you feel a deep satisfaction. You've built something that not only grows food or flowers, but also conserves precious resources. Every leaf, every drop of water, tells a story of ingenuity, showing how the simplest materials can be choreographed into a dance of abundance.